Hello folks, this is Jeff Phillips with SmokeandMeat.com, and today I have a New York strip roast from Porter Road. Now Porter Road is sponsoring this video today, and I really appreciate them doing that. Now this New York strip roast, as well as all of their beef, is pasture raised, it is dry aged, and I'm expecting this to be absolutely spectacular. I'm also using Porter Road's All Things Roast rub today, and this has a kick of horseradish, so that sounds interesting, and I'm looking forward to trying that on the roast itself. Now these two New York strip steaks I have on my pan is also from Porter Road, and for a comparison I'm going to be using my Jeff's Texas style rub on those, and we'll kind of make a little comparison and see how that goes. And I'm just looking forward to getting started with this, getting these things in the smoker, getting it smoked up. I did want to mention that Porter Road is giving you guys 15% off your next order, so I'll put a link to that up here in the top right corner. I will also put a link down in the description, so be sure and take advantage of that. Our New York strip roast awaits. Let's get started. We're going to add some kosher salt to the tops of these two steaks here, and I'm just going to pour some salt in my hand for this procedure. Now typically you would use about 1/2 teaspoon per pound to do proper dry brining. I tend to use a little more than that. I've done it so much I know it can handle it. But if you're just starting out, you can kind of start easy and then kind of work up to what you enjoy. Now this salt is going to draw juices to the surface out of that meat, and those juices will then dissolve the salt, and then that will be reabsorbed back into the meat. That's how the salt gets into the inside. And I'm just going to sort of going slow here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. You don't really have to be this careful in real life. Just getting a real nice coating on the meat. I don't worry about the fat part because the fat will not be affected by the salt, just the meat. So there we have it. I've got a little extra there. I'm just going to go ahead and do like that. Now I've never used this, but this is what they recommend on their roast, and this is what they sell. So I wanted to give it a try. So I'm just gonna kind of give it a good sprinkle. Their rub has enough salt in it to do the dry brining and the seasoning all at one time. I'm just going to kind of be a little bit liberal with this, and then I'll kind of press it on because I want to add some to the sides as well. Now I'm seeing herbs, I'm seeing salt and garlic, and I read on here it's also got some fennel. It's got a kick of horseradish, so that should be interesting. But by pressing that in, it's kind of helping it to adhere to that meat. Add a little bit to the edges here. Okay. Now let's turn it over to this last side here. We won't worry about the fat side. I'm going to cook this fat side down. And we're just going to place that just like that. We'll come back here in about 10 minutes once we start seeing these steaks here getting juices drawn to the surface, and then we'll add some of the Jeff's Texas style rub to the steaks. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. As you can see here, the salt has really started drawing moisture to the surface. These steaks were absolutely dry when I added the salt, and now they are just, there's this water puddling everywhere. So salt does a really good job of pulling those moisture droplets to the surface, and most of the salt is melted and that will, over the course of several hours, that will start to reabsorb back into the meat. Now, also looking at the Porter Road All Things Roast, I can see that the meat is definitely more moist than it was. I believe the herbs are probably soaking up a little bit of that moisture. For now, we're going to go ahead and add some of the Texas rub to these two steaks. Now I'm just going to add it to the top surface. Just something like that. And we're just going to leave it just like that. I'm going to go place these in the fridge overnight, and tomorrow morning we are going to fire up that smoker and get these in there to cooking. See you guys then. It's the next morning. We've pulled our meat out of the fridge. We've got the smoker going. I've had my coffee. This looks good. It smells incredible. I'm ready to get this in the smoker, so I'll meet you guys out there. We are using the Rectech pellet smoker today. I've got it set on low smoke, which will maintain about 180 degrees. Now I'm going to leave it at that for about 1 hour, and I'm kind of thinking this bigger piece of meat will probably take around 4 hours. Of course, these smaller 1-inch thick steaks will get done quite a bit faster, and so we'll just keep an eye on that. For now, we're going to go ahead and put these on the grate, and we will check back once these smaller steaks are done, and I'll see you then. It's been 1 hour. We're going to crank the Rectech up to 225. It's that simple. Let's get a look at our meat here. Also want to check the temperature of these steaks. Right in the center, 97, 96. This is a new Thermapen 1, reads in 1 second. Absolutely incredible. So these two are 96, 97 degrees, and the big roast is still about 58 degrees, so that's what I would expect. These here will probably be done very shortly, I guess in 15-20 minutes. They will get up to medium rare, and once that happens, we will grab these, wrap them in foil, and we'll hold those until the larger New York strip roast gets done. That way we can taste test everything together. So I will come back and see you guys then. It's been about 25 to 30 minutes. We're gonna test the temperature on these and see how close we are to medium rare. About in the center. 127. 129. That's pretty much perfect in my opinion. So what we're gonna do, I want to brush a little butter onto these. This is just plain butter. Just kind of help keep them moist. And I tell you what, while we're at it, we'll go ahead and do the same. You can never go wrong with butter. I'm being careful not to rub the butter on. I'm just kind of patting it on. I don't want to disturb the rub. I want that to run down the sides as well. So that'll work right there. These are ready to go. Look at that. Those look really good. I'm going to take these, wrap each one individually in foil. That'll be good right there. Same thing with this one. Man, it's all I can do to not cut into those right now. But I will wait. All right, I have these in the pan. I'm just gonna place a towel over the top. This will just sort of insulate it. And I'll put another piece of foil over that. And those will remain hot that way for several hours. We'll take that in the house with us. I want to give this a temperature check. See where we are. 97 degrees. So we're looking good there. And we'll just keep watching the temperature of that. And once that gets finished, we will wrap that in foil and give it a little resting time. And I will see you guys then. It's been just a little over 4 hours. I just checked this a few minutes ago and it was almost to where I wanted it. We're going to give this another test. 128, man, you can't get much better than that. I'm going to kind of move this into our pan here. Man, that looks so good. And that smells incredible. I had a little bit of butter left here. I'm going to go ahead and brush some of that on. Like I say, it never hurts anything. Makes the presentation look good. Adds a little flavor. And you just can't beat it. So we'll leave it at that. I'm going to cover this pan up with foil. We're going to let this New York strip roast from Porter Road, we're going to let that rest for a few minutes before we cut into it. I will meet you guys back in the house. We've allowed these to rest for about 20 minutes. You could allow it to rest much longer than that if you wanted to. I'm just going to kind of cut it right down the center. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut us a steak that's about the same thickness as the one we have that was already cut. Wow, look how juicy that is. And we'll go ahead and place this back into the pan. Now I want to grab one of our other steaks here. This is also a New York strip steak. I dry brine this one, and then I used my Texas style rub. On this one we did not brine it because the All Things Roast has a little more salt. I'm just going to kind of cut us off a little bite here. Kind of a little bite-sized piece. I'm going to do the same thing. So let's just give it a taste here. Now this is the All Things Roast rub from Porter Road. That is really good. That is really good. I thought this one might need to be dry brined. I thought maybe when I get done and I taste it that I would feel like it needed to be dry brined as well. But the salt from the rub has actually made its way into the meat during that overnight sit in the fridge, and it's done a really good job. That is really flavorful. All right, let me, I think that was our tester piece. Let me get us a little piece of meat there. That is also really good. I can tell it's two different types of rub, but one thing that I am tasting that is consistent in both steaks, and that is the salt has gotten into the meat itself. And that's the cool thing about dry brining, is that salt just kind of works its way into the meat. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today as we cooked up this New York strip roast from Porter Road. And once again, I really appreciate them sponsoring this video. They are an absolutely great company. They carry some of the best meat I've ever had. And all of their beef is pasture raised, is dry aged. They are giving you guys 15% off your next order. I'll put a link up here to that. I will also put a link down in the description, so be sure and take advantage of that. If you get a chance, be sure and try their rub. This is All Things Roast. It has got a kick of horseradish, it's got some fennel in it, it's got some garlic, it's got some other things. and it is really tasty. Once again, this is Jeff Phillips with SmokinMeat.com, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.